I guess we are on. I think we are on. We might be on. We gotta talk about this. We have to talk about this. We do have to talk about this. We have to talk about this because it's actually more important than just winning or losing. First of all, I just want to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, anywhere you are. And I just, spent all afternoon a little bit gathering a little bit of information. So let's go straight to this. And as you probably have noticed already, there is here the lawyer of age doing a round of sort of mainstream media. Guys, I have to say it's freaking outrageous. Not because of the interview, that ties into freedom of speech. You do whatever you want, fine. But just the premise to all of this, I literally feel like my food, it's like, all right, you know what? I've been in this stomach long enough. I need to get out. This is my food contemplating suicide. You know what I mean? So, it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. This is really insane, actually. We're gonna go in a second to, I don't know, all the reasons, whatever they're drinking, whatever they're thinking. More or less, I think I know what they're doing this. They're preparing. The thing that is most infuriating, it's like, there is this bit right here that I'll play you in a second, where basically they're going around, she's going around, to my understanding, it seems like she's blaming social media. There was an influence to the jury. She's basically accusing the jury of not doing their job properly because they go home, they have weekends, they have family, they're not supposed to see social media, but probably they do. So we are in a coliseum and they got exposed. It's the fault of all the other people on the internet. It's everybody's fault, basically. It's our fault. She lost because it's our fault. They didn't lose because they didn't provide any evidence. And they still run with that kind of gaslighting mentality. Oh, we had so much evidence. We had evidence from the trial in the UK. We have medical records. And then the medical records, what they are, basically they are therapist records, which they're not considered. And we go through this in a second, because I found this lovely person that posted on Twitter just to explain this step by step. Because people are just outraged, man. People are outraged that they're trying to sell to the mainstream media this idea that the jury made a mistake and they were entitled to win, basically. She still believed that, hey, she's a victim of domestic violence, absolutely ignoring everything that we have seen, basically, and also the things which were not presented in the trial, which probably are all the audios in the full length. Johnny Depp won fair and square because he's the victim. And now they're trying to, the main media, a lot of the media is trying to sell this idea that we are misogynist, that we are setting back the clocks. It's our fault. We are even like right-wing activists because we support a real victim, because we like to see facts. There is all this kind of stuff hanging around, which is ludicrous. And really tells you a lot about the state of some of the media, which they have absolutely a different narrative in mind, a different agenda. They don't give a damn about the truth. They don't give a damn at seeing each case individually, not piling up, oh, it's just women or it's just men. It's men against women, it's women against men. This is where we at? Like really treating the audience that which is supposed to pay them, the monthly fee through the web magazine or through a paper print or whatever, treating them like idiots. Like as if like all the millions of people which were lucky enough actually to see the trial, they're giving us the crazy pill. It's like, you didn't see that. You're wrong. You didn't see what you just saw. Of all the records, of all the things which were presented, which finally made it clear to millions of us that actually JD was a victim of domestic violence. There was a victim, and wasn't her. And now they're running this type of stuff. Like, listen to this. I want to give, because I already watched this, so I was a little bit prepared. Thumbs up to the journalist here, which at least tried, to ask a difficult question.
I am a former NFL player, and after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up and point to the other side. Oftentimes, I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror.
Exactly.
What mistakes did I make as a player? What mistakes did our coaching staff make? And
Exactly.
then how can we improve from there? Do you feel like you guys made any mistakes along the way? Do you feel like Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand? Because you're saying it's the celebrity, it's Johnny, it's the people who support him. But what about you and your team?
Well, and that's an excellent question. And to say, and Amber even said on the stand, I am not perfect. I am a human being. These people were giving her death threats. They threatened to microwave her baby.
Here we go. That's where we are. That's where we had. They rehearsed this bit, right? They resold the same story on the stand. To me, that already tells me that this is a rehearsed bit. This is like prepared. It was prepared then, it's prepared now. It's an assumption, it's a speculation, but that's what it seems, right? And again, freedom of speech. Can I speak? Is it like that?
This is the kind of social media she was getting. So are any of us perfect? No. Is there something else we feel we should have done? Yes, absolutely. I
Look at that guy right there. Even the woman right there is like, oh my God, it's so early, I have to hear this. It's so early, I have to hear this.
I redo my closings 100 times afterwards, whether I win or lose. That's part of being a good lawyer, a good trial lawyer, is
right.
There's always something. But I think that there were a lot of influences here that were beyond our control. And I think the social media, it was like a Roman Colosseum. Is the best way to describe the atmosphere here. And I have to believe that the jury, even though they're told not to go and look at anything, they have weekends, they have families, they have social
they were not
media.
sequestered. They were not sequestered.
And the 10-day period we had, how could they not have been influenced?
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, got huge views. It just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides. On both sides.
Oh man, they're being too they're being of course. I didn't expect nothing different from this kind of media. I don't think they can really take a stand too much, but this is obviously like really bypassing the verdict, and the 6 weeks this jury has worked on this, literally just by an interview, like not even a day after. Like literally, probably less because this was recorded probably in the morning, like saying that the jury didn't do the right job. Can you imagine? This is what we're dealing with. And they're literally gaslighting everybody because, of course, they're doing this round of interviews, in my opinion, because they're trying to steer like the public opinion. They're trying to get some support for the appeal. You know what I mean? This is what they're trying to do. This is why this woman is already here. Why she's already doing the round of interviews for the other lady. Why? So it's like you ask yourself, you literally just lost. You're already going around doing the round of interviews because you're trying to, kind of gear up, you're trying to get some momentum, and then you throw the appeal. And they go on talking about that in the UK case they won, even though they didn't win, because we'll go through this in a second. There is this lady here, Jackie Talks Nerdy, which she's describing and debunking basically all those instances that the lawyer of AH is going around basically fabricating information, fabricating facts that don't exist, you know? And it's, first of all, thank you very much that those stuff comes out so quickly. So the legal team is embarking on a Defame Johnny media tour in the wake of yesterday's verdict. Therefore, let me debunk several of her lies that she spouted on Good Morning America. So, we won in the UK. That's what she said. Amber Heard was not a party in the UK case. That's true. She was just a witness. The suit was against the Sun. There was a tabloid. Because Heard was only a witness, she was not subjected to the same discovery rules as a party would be. So, that's first. The judge in that case also suppressed evidence of Heard being an habitual liar and discounted proof that she got people to lie for her under oath. Google Kevin Murphy witness statement and deposition. There was a different case with, frankly, a corrupt judge who retired the day afterwards and whose son worked for the Sun. This is, this last part, it's speculation, but it's known now that this judge had this connection through his son that worked for the conglomerate. So, then it's a retired judge. He doesn't give a damn anymore. So very biased. And also, she was not a party and there were great limitations. The judge suppressed medical records. This is false. What was deemed inadmissible here in Virginia were Heard's therapy records. So the records of the therapist, which are not medical records and are hearsay. Therapists do not conduct physical exam and are not independent investigators. They are obliged under the law to take anything their clients say at face value. Heard had the opportunity to have a certified medical professional substantiate her essay claims. She brought an orthopedic surgeon who also specializes in vaginal trauma in an expert witness, and instead of having him examine her and testify regarding her alleged injuries, she had him testifying regarding Johnny's end, basically. Heard had no medical records, no medical testimony to substantiate or verify her claims. This tells you a lot. This is it's infuriating because they're trying to throw every one of us under the bus now. They're basically saying that it's our fault, that it's YouTubers, that they're just reporting the truth, which we're just listening to facts, and also the supporters, the viewers, which in millions they have seen, in millions they have understood. Now this woman has the guts of going around and trying to change the narrative, and some of the mainstream media is helping this pursuit, which is absolutely insane, if you ask me. This is really shows where we head. This has nothing to do with misogyny. This is nothing to do with men against women. It's just people that have seen this, have had the chance to see it for 6 weeks, and have seen the truth. That's what it is. That's the... Whoa! All of a sudden, I thought I was like... it's like a balloon just exploded. I thought oh my God. They're coming after me already. Oh my God. Oh, I just jumped. So this is what it's all about, So it's ridiculous that they're trying to make this about something else. So let's continue. Social media impacted the jury. Heard's team are the ones who brought social media into the courtroom. One of their expert witnesses, Ron Schnell, told jurors about their multiple Twitter hashtags in support of Johnny Depp and against AH. Heard herself told the jury about what was going on in regard to TikTok. Her lawyers told the jury about the Justice for Johnny Depp social media movement. The jury found out about activity on social media in court from her team, not outside the court. That's true. That's really, really true. It's right there. We saw it with those specialists, and also the cross-examination of John Wayne, which said, do you think that Justice for Johnny is a good thing? Do you think that justice is a good thing? I'm a fan of justice. Something like that. John Wayne was awesome. Depp wanted the trial televised. Partially true. The court granted its own motion to televise the trial. Depp's team did not submit the motion. It came from the judge herself because of multiple requests from media outlets for cameras, and the Depp team said that was fine. Heard's team disagreed. The court granted its own motion in regard to the camera. It did not come from Depp. Proof is below. It's true. This is a fact. We saw the motion from the judge, and because they want to kind of like not put too much pressure on the court in Virginia, and being televised would have lifted a little bit of their pressure. It is telling that Depp's legal team have no interest in doing interviews while Heard's are scrambling for media attention. The mainstream media remain complicit in the continued defamation of Johnny Depp by giving her lawyers a platform to spread lies. I hope they get their just dessert soon. Man, it's crazy. Texts between Depp and his assistant proving abuse were kept out. They're talking about Stefan Deuters, who testified for Johnny Depp in the UK and was scheduled to testify for Depp in this case. Deuter testified under oath in the UK that those texts were taken out of context and that they misrepresented what was going on. During this case, Stefan's wife Gina also testified for Johnny. H. friends Eve B., who sat in the court with Heard, took an old Instagram post of Gina's cropped it, gave it to Heard's legal team, and told the judge Gina was discussing the trial on social media. Gina admitted to seeing clips of the trial online, but said the social media post was years old, which it was. Gina's testimony was struck from the record, but Barlow was also kicked out of court for witness tampering. This is crazy, this part. Actually, like, people forget this. Because Gina was compromised, Stefan Deuters also couldn't testify, and his texts were therefore inadmissible as hearsay since he could not verify their validity or falsehood in this case. It's the fault of Heard's team and their shady tactics that Deuters' texts couldn't be admitted into evidence and that Deuters couldn't testify. Depp also had evidence kept out of court on hearsay grounds. See Jennifer Howell as an example and look up her multiple witness statement. We know the letter. So this is the order for the camera. You see, this matter came before the court on February 25, 2022 on this own motion to address requests to broadcast the proceeding upon consideration of each party position. It's hereby ordered that one pool camera will be permitted in the courtroom in accordance with Virginia Code section blah blah blah. So, wow. You have to realize what is happening here. This is nothing new. And I feel a little bit ashamed of it because I've always considered myself a center leaning left. You know, I've always been like open-minded. I would say maybe even liberal to an extent. You know, I've always been like trying to see the bigger picture, so to speak, about everything in general. Even though I also never really ascribed to any political factions. But to see what is happening, especially with the extreme left, and this narrative that it's getting so corrupted that you have, like, seems like you cannot question any more things. You know, like, you cannot question a woman. You question a woman, then you're a misandrist, a misogynist. You must be against LGBTQ also. You must be also like a rapist or whatever. It's insane. It's insane where this is heading. That you cannot look at things one at a time, you know? We have to sort of like do this kind of Either it's black or either it's white. What is that? You know, this is just a way of, instead of trying to find a communication in between parties, in between faction, in between ideology, this is a way of basically creating barricades. So it's really sad, honestly, to see this. It's quite sad to see that this is happening in this way. Guys, before we go on, please hit the like, helps the stream growing. So we get to be a lot of us in the stream and we can talk. I want to take some question from you already. Sorry, I was busy with the reading this part. We're already like 2,000 in the chat. Ellie Bums, thank you so much for the super chat. Ellie Barnes says, Ellen Umbridge needs to retire with her golden microphone button. Accusing the jury of ignoring court orders is guilty before innocent. Scammy. I agree. This is really, really rotten. Actually, I'm grateful that in the United States of America, it is possible for the law to display a trial, because this has probably been an incredibly educative experience for millions and millions of people also outside of the US. Like me, I'm in the Netherlands. My audience, there is people literally from every part of the world. This has been like an incredibly valuable experience to witness this. And you also understand like that if this trial was not televised, those headlines that we are reading would have had even more power to influence people away from the truth. This is the part that it's said, you know? This is part that is said because it's really disenfranchising so many people which they are for the truth, which they are for fair opportunities, which they are on the side of women victims, of male victims, which they are on the side of minorities and all of that. You know, they're disenfranchising those people, taking the higher ground like, oh, you don't believe her, therefore you must be a terrorist or something. It's insane. It's insane. She's a liar. It's pathological. It's obvious. Those people, they're not even taking a week off and already running around telling that the trial was unfair. I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless. They're literally telling hundreds of, probably 100 million people or more that we are all dumb. We are all dumb. Can you imagine if we didn't have the chance to hear all the audios, to see it with our own eyes, to listen from her own mouth and the mouth of other people testifying? If we hadn't had a chance to see this, the media would have run rampant with whatever they wanted to sell. And look at this. It's insane. It's really insane. Look at this. Time. This is time. This is time. Look at this headline. Depp versus H reminds us that the legal system is still stacked against survivors. Look how far away they're taking the victory of JD to fulfill the narrative of whatever affiliation they have with whatever movement of activists or whatever saying, you see, look at that. The verdict is actual proof that the Me Too movement hasn't gone far enough. What does it even mean? What do you mean? To become more extreme? What do you mean exactly? Look, going after maybe JD's lawyer, attacking them because you already know that he's guilty? Where are we getting here? You basically enticing to the possibility of actually violence with this? What are you saying? That these people, which they went through a fair trial, and they presented what they could present in terms of evidence, and also on the other side, we know that they did not present all the evidence they could. They're still bickering about medical records or whatever, when in fact it's just like psychiatrist records, whatever. Like, it's basically like we read, I say something, you believe it. No medical records, nothing. What are you saying, Time Magazine? Again, this is really reminds me of interview with Bob Dylan when he was very young. There's this beautiful interview that he gets really upset with this snarky Time Magazine journalist, and Bob Dylan gets really pissed off, and it just buries him under like 10 meters of gravel. Bob Dylan already then, you know, that's why I love that guy, already then understood how the media was working, where it was heading. Actually, if you haven't watched this, maybe we should. I don't know if I can show it to you, but yeah, I'll try.
A Virginia jury's decision to.
Mamma mia, this is. Let's see if this one is there. Yeah, I don't know if I can show you this thing without getting copyright blocked or something. That's a little bit of a problem. But if you can, you should listen to this interview. You should definitely listen to this interview. This is a fantastic interview of Bob Dylan. It's called Bob Dylan Interview with Time Magazine. Tamara Mowbray, Ronsville, thank you so much for the super chat. Malini, thank you so much for the super chat. Amber, oh, I'm happy, Amber, you saw this interview. This is, I don't know exactly, probably it's from the 60s. Yeah, this is like, it's gonna be copyright claimed, the video, so. But if you can see it, it's a great interview. So, let's go through some positive things, though. So, Johnny Depp is still in the UK. We have realized that, you know, man, look at this. This is Rolling Stone, another propaganda outlet. Men always win. Survivor sickened by the Amber Heard verdict. This is written by A.J. Dixon. Man, oh my God. I know that you also need clicks. I know that you also need clicks. I can't believe I ever felt bad for her. Oh man, I love the memes because Ellen deserves sympathy. Changed my mind. Okay, no sympathy anymore. Like I said, this is just another technique. They're preparing the terrain to do the appeal. But honestly, I don't think the appeal will work. I was looking around and I think the appeal would just... Yeah, because basically they should prove that the trial something was unprofessional or not right, you know, to win an appeal. So, hey Robinson, thank you so much for the super chat. I have thoroughly appreciated your thoughtful and considerate tone while investigating with an open mind this trial and ramification from the verdict. Common sense flows so naturally from you. Thank you. No, thank you. Well, it's my pleasure to try to understand things, you know, and also in the process of not trying to ascribe to definitive kind of ideals which might box a person when you're actually trying always to argue something, you know, and learn from something. So that's why I always say, like, you know, I don't really ascribe in particular to any political ideals or religion, because you can't. You have to move and you have to tune yourself as you walk, as you learn, as you see, as you understand, as you experiment, and so on, and as you absorb from others, you know. So that's what I try to do in everything. But it is upsetting to see what is happening, you know. It is upsetting that some of these media is trying to take away from an actual victim, you know, in now happened to be a male, right? But they're trying to take from an actual victim his victory and also his peace of mind, his closure after years of abuse, after years of being mistreated at the hands of a narcissist, you know? So they're trying to take away. Why? Because the narrative of the super woke leftist extremist says that if you don't believe women, then you are the problem. That's frankly insane. That's frankly quite insane. I want to believe anyone, regardless of the gender, but you have to follow it. You cannot just immediately give a verdict of somebody being guilty without even a due process, you know? And this is exactly what has happened with JD. Nobody's coming forward to apologize, you know? All those like Walt Disney should apologize. They literally left him off the hook 2 days after that rumors, you know, just words spread, allegation from a person spread, bam, he was gone. If it was the other way around, you know, like if she was, you know, like if it was a man accusing a woman like that, it would never have worked, you know, would have been probably much harder. I just want to focus on something positive here, that JD yesterday night posted that typewriter statement on his Instagram, and a lot of people went to like that post, me included. And here we have Pride of the Gypsies, which also liked that statement, which is Jason Momoa. And honestly, that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot already, that, you know, how they probably feel about that person. You know what I mean? Let's spread a little bit more positive news. This was the day of my birthday, and some lads, how do you say, no, not lads, some, what is it, I always forget, what is it the equivalent of lads for female? Is it always lads, or like, there must be some UK viewers among you. Tell me. Les, here we go, Les, here we go. Thank you so much, Madani Gabaka. Les and Gauls, look at that. And some of those nice Les, they had the opportunity of taking a nice picture with JD. This is I love, because you see the women, you know, women with common sense. They saw through the BS, and they're just happy to be with JD. They're just happy to take a picture with him, you know. This is beautiful. This is what they should show, but they don't. They're just giving space and platform to this lawyer that is going around telling the mainstream media that the jury did a mistake, that the trial wasn't fair, and they're going to appeal. I mean, I'm not saying, like, you know, it's their right, like it's the right of anybody because of the law to appeal. Fine. I mean, that's not the question here, you know. Fine. You do what you have to do. It's a proceeding. It's like the technicality of those things. Fine, you know. And it's also their right. But I think they're robbing a survivor of DV of his victory, just because of the bias, in this case, towards the stereotype that DV it's mostly perpetuated by men towards women, you know? And like I said, I'm not aware of specifically about the number, but like I said before, we should be able to see things case by case, instead of always judging things, putting them into like either boxes or factions, you know, before anything. So let's spread some more positive news here. We have JD. Look at that. Look how fun is JD walking around with this little notebook and like little hat, just walking around the UK. Newcastle. I wonder if JD is still there. I wonder if he's still in the UK. Man, this would be the best crossover they could ever think of. If they if they would do this crossover, this would be great. Tish, yeah, trying to save her practice. I mean, honestly, I think if she wouldn't have gone around, I don't know if it's the truth, but I was reading somewhere that she even said that the actress, she cannot pay for basically the damages. Look at again. Let's spread some more positive news. Look at this. More women being absolutely happy about JD victory and posting with him. That really, you know, let's hope that YouTube doesn't become more censoring, which already is, which already is. Most of my videos, they're going always through the yellow icon for monetization, and that's never happened to me. So now most of my videos, I always have to ask for a manual review to actually get the ads on. And I don't think I'm being I'm being unfair or using like horrendous language or trying to spread misinformation. I'm just reacting to what I see and allegedly talking about things, if you might say. But this is already what it's happening on my YouTube. Most of my videos, I have to ask for the manual review. So that already tells you that one word or whatever immediately has triggered something. Or maybe I was, you know, like so some people, I don't know, reported me for whatever, I don't know. But this is the reality. And it's sad if it goes the way of becoming more and more censoring, because then another platform will just fall to the end of whatever is the main narrative. And it's quite sad, actually, because this is one of the platforms still where you can actually have a little bit of larger view on things, you know? Otherwise, you're stuck just with whatever they're trying to sell. And you saw how it works. So, look at this. Meanwhile, pregnant bar manager Lauren Whittington posed with the star as he touched her baby bump and passed on some parenting wisdom. She told ITV he noticed I'm pregnant and was asking me how long I have left. Then he was giving me some advice on nappies, lack of sleep, and the first few weeks of parenthood, saying it'll be the greatest gift I've ever received, and I won't know love like it until I look into her eyes for the first time. Man, JD like fucking makes me cry. He's such a nice dude. It's really, you know, would be like it's really like, it's because this guy's too nice. That's why it was so easy to go after him. That's what it is. This guy was too nice, too good, and that's why it was so easy for a narcissist like that to go after him and to do all the things that they've done to this guy, you know? Kelly, thank you so much for the super chat. Extreme leftist here. I'm beyond excited and so happy for JD, and he finally got justice. Yeah, like I said, I think we understand each other. Thank you so much, Star Bright. Like I said many times, I always try not to ascribe necessarily to any faction, because the truth doesn't require to stand into any particular ideology, you know? So the truth is free, and I trust more into common sense, the law of physics, and that's it. All the other things are things that we have to see one thing at a time and try to find a way to communicate, dialogue, So that's it. But I'm happy to see that a lot of people, like both more like left and right, they because also left and right doesn't mean necessarily like a lot. I don't know why sometimes a lot of people is like, oh, you're left, you're immediately branded as if you're like a USSR communist or something, and then you says like, I'm right, and then you immediately branded as if you just came out of Germany from the 35 or something, So there is also sometimes a lot of this misconception. But anyway, it's just sad that a lot of mainstream media, leaning more right or more left, a lot of them are doing a disservice, And I understand the need for some clickbaity stuff, But at the same time, what I've seen today, it's honestly pretty embarrassing, if you ask me. Especially like interview like this one. This woman literally went on national TV accusing, like not even 24 hours later, went on national TV accusing the jury of not doing their job properly. This is what this is. So I'm like, wow. Talk about a sore loser. You know what I mean? I don't know when this thing took place, but I was actually curious because I saw this video. Maybe this was JD before leaving. I have no idea because I think the guy is still. And I really think like also a lot of the supporter of these women, they also didn't look too much into the trial. I think they just emotionally attached themselves to the cause because they're already part of the cause of perhaps the Me Too movement or some feminist movement. They jumped into this with a bias with an emotional bias without actually following all the evidence. So like you can bypass a lot of stuff if you already jump in with the bias, and this is unfortunately what I've seen with also the supporter of this woman. Actually I saw a thread which I cannot show you. There is a hashtag going around but actually women like performing cuts on themselves in response to this verdict, blaming the jury. This is absolute insanity. This is absolute distortion of facts. And this is what is scary about the mainstream media and those movements. That's why I don't want to ascribe to none of those things. None of those things. Because if you start to behave like as if you belong into a cult and you bypass common sense for the affiliation and desire of belonging to a group emotionally without even questioning, then you're already lost. And it's sad to see this because then you see that people are just taking the wrong road, into solving problems. They're just taking the wrong road. You can always anybody can spin this whichever way you want. Any political faction can use it for their own propaganda and narrative, But that does not mean that the result of the trial is false, This does not mean you can have extreme right groups trying to use this for their propaganda, for their narrative. But that's not all the people. That's not all of us. That's not what we think. And you can also choose to maybe go after, like some magazine go after or publish something like that, or you post your Twitter about those things, and give it space, give it energy. But it's not us. It's not all of us. Anyone can choose to take something that has happened that is such a high profile and spin their narrative around it. That doesn't have to take away from the truth, though, or from the verdict. You know what I mean? So this is the sad part of I'm left, I'm right, I'm top, I'm bottom, I'm this, I'm that. This is the sad part of this. That people really get lost in between nomenclatures and things and propaganda, and they lose sight of the truth. They lose sight of what matters. Thank you, Andre van der Veer. Thank you so much. And it's also true. Like we saw, like here we go. Like exactly this part, like you say in the comments. I just want him to leave me alone. Johnny leaves the country. Exactly. Oh, you think you can just walk away? And then this is so funny. But also, like exactly like you say, she went on the stand saying, like, I just want to continue my life. I just want to be left alone. If Johnny stops suing me everywhere. And now they wanna because probably, you know what it is? They believed they could get away with this. They thought that probably they could have won. That's why. They thought, okay, we're gonna win this. But they didn't. And Johnny was proven to be defamed, and it's been awarded damages. And I think the lawyer even said, I don't know, I was watching a thread, I don't know if this is accurate, please correct me if I'm wrong, that she might not even be able to pay those damages. So running for appeal, of course, is a technique, but honestly, I don't think it's going anywhere. I really don't think it's going anywhere with this appeal. Michael, thank you so much. Well, if you don't have money, the only option you have is try to see if you can win. You know what I mean? It's ludicrous that these people didn't even take like a few days off, and they immediately starting to run for cover, for damage control, to try to spread misinformation and lies, trying to, influence the public opinion of those that perhaps didn't follow the trial, like some of this mainstream media is doing with those articles, which they are like misinterpreting at best, not really giving the entire picture, at least in the headlines. I've not read the article, so I don't know if in each article they go in length about stuff. At least the headlines, they are kind of like, douchey, to say the least. This is Jennifer Howell, that she posted something new on several hours ago on Instagram. Definition of a hoax. Humorous or malicious deception. They recognize the plan as a hoax. I believe Adam Waldman was being rather kind using that word for this conspiracy to commit fraud against another human being. Everything he has ever said has been the truth, and it has been mind-blowing to watch the mainstream media, huge organization, and companies cover up such crimes. These people literally called people I know and asked them to avoid being subpoenaed, and to lie about me if they happen to get a subpoena. They did this for no other reason than I was telling the truth, me, a very small part of this thing. Imagine being the person that let them live for free for years, allowed them a place to have their extramarital affair, gave and gave only to be the target of their extortion. I have been destroyed over this, and I was not the one they sought out to target. Wow. This is powerful, man. Adam Waldman told the truth, and some people can handle the truth. Those people wage a lawsuit against him to keep him out of the courtroom because they know he knows what they have done. You see, I mean, this is spectacular and powerful because you see how much Jennifer, she knew of direct affiliation. She knows directly the sister, lived with her, so probably she knows the behind the scene in details. You know, nobody will go to this length to make it very clear where they stand if they weren't aware for a very long time of all the details and what was taking place for real. Especially somebody that, like Jennifer, is part of a charitable organization. You know what I mean? So that alone tells you a lot. That really tells you a lot. It's really shameful what the media is doing. Anyway, this is a rant, is to simply say that this man is someone that I will want on my side in any situation because he's a truth teller and I respect that immensely. By the way, I had this guy already. Immediately. My man, Waldman. I saw this video. Let's spread some positivity. I'm not sure the timeline of this video, but it's kind of rather curious because we see that this is JD dressed in the usual JD clothing, and then there is the lady, the stenographer, Judy, and I think this is John Wayne, the lawyer, and there is also Dr. Curry. There is a lot of people from it's like all the lawyers. So, but I don't know when it took place. This is what I don't understand. If it took place before JD left for the UK. And also, whoever house inhabit, you're putting Leonard Cohen danced me to the end of love. So you get a mega thumbs up because of that. Because you have a good taste. You have a good taste, my man. You have a very good taste. Miss Stone, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry, I missed it. Miki, thank you so much for the super chat. You see, there is a different... See, that's Dr. Curry. She's so tiny. Because JD is not that tall. JD is like... I think JD is like 178 or so. So look at the cute Dr. Curry. It's like really beautiful, tiny woman. Absolutely precious. This is the other lawyer. Man, JD is so nice. Such a good guy. Those are his securities. So yeah, this is a lot of people. I don't know when this took place, but it's interesting. It seems like there was just a... Hello, Dr. Curry. Was just like a party somewhere. I don't know, probably at the end of the trial, most likely. Would have been a nice place to be, honestly. I would have very much liked to be in that place. Sylvia, thank you so much for the super chat. I love this meme. Like, the only count that AH won was because Depp only had to pay $2 million because Waldman couldn't prove it. Was Amber who threw wine around. Hurt supporters. If those kids could read, they'd be very upset. Oh my god, that's fantastic. Oh my god, this is how it feels. This is really how it feels. And also, just for some good vibes, this is an alpaca in Jack Alpaca. Oh man, I want one now. Now I want a Jack Alpaca Sparrow. Man, I'm telling you, make this happen. Make this happen. This will be the crossover everybody wants to see. If you make this crossover, I'm telling you, you're gonna make like $1.5 billion. I'm telling you, DC and Disney. I'm telling you, you do this crossover, bang. Actually, that's really something, because crossovers actually they've happened in between even DC and Marvel comics. I think crossovers should definitely happen. That would be a great way, because a lot of times, this studio owns this right, the other studio owns those other rights, and it's a mess. We have seen this with what happened with Sony having the rights to Spider-Man and Marvel trying to get them back, and then continue the franchise of Spider-Man from Sony, including it in the new reality of Disney Marvel. So, but that would be a fantastic crossover. They should really consider those type of crossovers, honestly. JD is very, very lucky that he didn't lose his life because of perhaps going too heavy with this self-medication and other stuff. Because people which they go through deeply emotional abuse, you never know. It's always one step away, and especially at the level that those guys were running, like both her and him. I really stand in the conviction that he's lucky that things went well, Man. You see, also, what is this? Blockbuster trial over. Jury finds both Heard Deep liable for defamation. This is incorrect. This is totally incorrect. H pledges 10.4 million to Johnny Depp. It's actually 8,350,000. This is Tom Morello. Oh, this is not him. This is not his statement. Okay. Just icy. Okay. Yeah, I don't see this happening, trying to yeah, I don't think the ACLU will do anything. I have no idea if this is true or not. This is probably bogus. We'll see. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was feeling too, Now that the trial is over, what is to stop Amber leaking any of the evidence that wasn't allowed in the trial? Because there isn't any. There isn't any. They have to fabricate it. They have to make it up. Wow. Well, I mean, probably this is, this is still in the list because, yeah, it's actually ridiculous. that she's never paid this money in charities. It's always somebody else's fault. It's quite nuts. OnlyFans. Well, she could make a good living with OnlyFans. There are literally like Twitch streamers which they make like 2 million a month. So that might be a better career. You never know. You know, that's the good thing of being able to still work, you know? Why not? But yeah, it's going to be difficult to be employable. So this is interesting. Look at this. This is a news that is just coming out. Let's listen to this. This is, I think, from Law and Order. Let's listen to this. Let's see if this is correct.
Matter. You made an allusion to bankruptcy. I'm wondering, is this dischargeable, as they would say, in bankruptcy court? And how difficult is it to collect a judgment like this, especially with somebody that may not have the funds to pay it?
Well, the short answer is it is non-dischargeable in bankruptcy because the jury made a finding of malice. In the federal bankruptcy code, there is an express provision that accepts judgments based upon a finding of malice from dischargeability. So Amber Heard is stuck with this. And one other fact that a lot of people don't know, in many jurisdictions, Virginia is one of them, in order to appeal that verdict and that judgment, she has to post a bond. And typically the bond is the total amount of the judgment plus attorney's fees. There is no way on God's green earth that Amber Heard, short of taking a loan out from the ACLU or from, you know, Mr. Mosk himself, that she is going to be able to post that bond. And without a bond, this verdict stands.
Wow. This is I'm sorry, I don't know the name of this. Philip Dupe, Deputy Public Defender. Wow. This is bombshell news, guys. This is bombshell news. That means that if she doesn't place the bond, basically pay the money in Virginia, she cannot even appeal. Oh man, this woman, she's getting truly wrecked. I mean, this is really the universe saying, not today. Not today. Not on my watch. You know what? Sometimes I have the feeling which there are things which they have such a they could have such a negative impact on a worldwide level, you know? That somehow even the universe goes like, okay, I don't have to intervene. I cannot intervene. But then there are moments where, oh, maybe I intervene just a little bit. You know? Of course, I'm just speculating. But anyway, it feels nuts, but also good, because you see what they were trying to do. They were already going around selling a false narrative. And I think it's this is what I don't like about our society today. It feels like that journalism has absolutely fallen from grace. Like there is no code of conduct anymore. There is no like higher morality anymore involved in being a journalist, in actually being a reporter, somebody that actually goes after the truth, not clickbaits. You know what I mean? It's actually insane that's where we are. That things got so corrupted, influenced by commerce and left or right, that people are more busy with propaganda and indoctrination than actually the truth. And I know I don't want to come across like a naive. I understand that there are so many complicated interaction and there are so many complications. That's true. But still, the intent of pursuing an accurate statements or pursuing the truth should be still paramount, despite the international connections or the the problem with the businesses influencing politics and politics influencing, the magazines which they're owned by businessmen, whatever. That all kind of strange loop. Okay, I get it, but still. Otherwise, everything is a lie, Otherwise, we're just jumping from one crafted delusion to the next, which it is in part true, but man, I mean, honestly, the lawyer, this is great news. This is great news. For those of you that just jumped in now, Law and Crime interviewed, I think, this gentleman called Philip Dupe, if I'm correct. And it seems like that Philip Dupe just said that in order to pursue an appeal, she has to pay the bond in Virginia, which amounts to what she owes Johnny Depp plus the attorney's fees. So if she doesn't pay that, basically cannot file for an appeal. I think that's a good news, guys. If you ask me, this is a good news. This is a good news because it was already infuriating the way they were spinning this. Again, with malice and defamation. Literally, like, oh my God. Like, you have to realize, literally, the guy has just now, like, not even 24 hours or 24 hours ago, like, won a defamation case on all 3 counts, right? Not even freaking 24 hours later, this freaking lawyer is going around defaming the guy. Can you imagine? So, like, literally. Not even taking like a day off, like a week off or something. Oh, the Matari, thank you so much. Well, then it's also very good to have you around here. The Matari is a lawyer. And like I said, I don't know if you watched the Philip Dupe here saying about having to pay the bond to file for the appeal. If you can concur in that would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the majority of people probably will feel also bad for her, But I also felt bad a little bit because, of course, nobody wants to find themselves in total ruin. But then you also realize that this is the same person that has done those atrocious allegations against an innocent man. Literally digging her own grave and lay in it. So you're like, you kidding me? You're like, you lived with a guy that was trying to make it work, that gave you everything he had. They literally gave you the keys to his life and his houses, and all your friend living off of this guy, and then literally extorted from him, backstabbing him, plotting this whole thing in order to get away with murder, basically. And it didn't work, likely. The guy was trying, like, poor man. Jesus. The guy did his best. Now, with all his flaws and whatever, nobody's perfect. We get that. Nor him or her, fine, to a level. But this goes a level further, There is true malice, premeditation. I mean, I've said this so many times. Some people meet and you meet a person that instead of helping you out, maybe even like moderating or making you feel better, it's gonna literally extract the worst out of you or help you get there, you know? And that's what happened to that guy. I mean, if he had another relationship, probably a better person, you know, that the soul matched better. Sometimes I wonder how the hell a hack. Of course, he had his own issue. That's probably worked. You know, like those type of narcissists, they find victims which they are somehow vulnerable to them, because otherwise it wouldn't work. You know, otherwise it wouldn't work. For the same reason, that's why a narcissist is not doesn't match, doesn't get into a relationship with another narcissist. You know. But the guy tried to really make it work, gave her everything, like opened the door to all the possibilities. You have here somebody that has more ego than talent, and yet she managed to climb the social ladder to get immediately in some of the highest spot into society, into acting, in having like even like big blockbuster movies as a you know, supporting actress, like going straight to the top, you know. But wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Somebody that didn't even acknowledge the talent of the person she was with. We heard the audio that JD alleging, saying that she didn't even take an interest in his work. We heard JD like many times saying how much he was tired of being belittled all the time. The ranting, the begging, the badgering, and all that kind of stuff. The badgering and so on. I mean, all kinds of weird technique from abusers, from narcissists, you know, that they start to lose interest in you and they want to move on to the next phase, but in doing so they cannot take responsibility and say like, hey, listen, I want to break up. They're gonna drive you crazy to get to that point, you know. They're gonna gaslight you to the end of your days, forcing you basically to leave them because they can't take responsibility. They can't say the truth. They cannot blame themselves. They cannot come forward and say like, hey, listen, I don't love you anymore. They're going to destroy you in the process, which to me, that's exactly what it seemed to happen, to the point where those lies, they got so out of hand that this person could not have, she could not go back anymore. She could not step back anymore, those lies. She had to go through it all. I tell you one thing, if already in the past she would have withdrawn those accusations, would have been still better for her to recover a life and her career. To this very moment, she's still blaming the internet, she's blaming the YouTuber through her lawyer, that is blaming all of us, even the audience, that we are responsible for the jury verdict, influencing the jury, and the jury is wrong. We are all wrong, but them. Not even 24 hours, and they're already trying to gaslighting millions of people. Go figure. So it really makes you think like, is this person even able to realize actually that she needs help, you know, and really get very quickly the help that she needs, you know? It's really ridiculous, like the statement like, JD won't leave me alone. And in fact, the guy really literally left the country. He's somewhere else living his life, playing music. He has enough of this, you know? And she wants to countersue him again. She wants to you know, file for an appeal Luckily, we've just learned that this appeal, if she doesn't pay the bond, it won't be possible to do. This is fantastic. I just want to read you this, guys. Breaking. AH lawyers seeking to find a better actress for the appeal. Hopefully, one that can cry this time. The first one we had was just awful. No chemistry. Bradhoft. That's exactly right. Oh my god, that's exactly right. Oh, no chemistry. Oh my god. It's so infuriating that some people are just chiming in having no freaking idea what they're talking about. I just want to go straight to the comment. Oh my god, I didn't say this, but thank you. Yeah, everybody's trying to spin this like, this is a setback like you see here. I think it's not. It's a setback just in the mind if you want to control the narrative that it's escaping you, whatever that is, If you want to control the narrative with this sort of tyrannical manner where you are only the one that it's the bestower of morality upon the other, you from your cult, then okay, then that's true, But if we're talking about the fact that something that came across to millions and millions of people as an injustice, right? That millions, literally probably hundreds of millions of people have seen this and felt like a true injustice taking place, and a wrong was fixed, and we are happy about that. That is not a setback. That it's actually empowering everyone. That's empowering male and female alike to come forward. But if you're telling me that you are the only custodian of morality through the affiliation that you deem worthy, and only you can judge who is right or wrong because you have that kind of higher ground of morality above all of us, then maybe you might be right, but I don't think so. This is how entitled those cults are becoming, in general. That's why, like I said, like Groucho Marx said, I think it was Groucho Marx that said, like, I don't want to belong in any, I paraphrase it, I don't remember correctly. I don't want to be part of any group that will accept somebody like me or something like that. But anyway, long story short, like, I don't want to belong in any kind of cult, in any kind of group. Exactly, club that will have me. Thank you so much, Subu. I mean, what were they waiting, What were they waiting for JD to die, And then probably could have even said like afterwards, like, oh yeah, you know, like this type of person probably would have even come forward and say like, oh, he abused me in life. You know what I mean? And then, of course, you can just dance on top of the grave of a man because he cannot defend himself, you know? True hypocrisy. True hypocrisy. You're right, guys. The only place you can hurt these people it's in their ego. Thank you so much, Carly Lee. The only place where you can hurt these people it's in their ego, and that's where they got hurt now, because now she's basically unemployable. I wouldn't be surprised if some companies or whatever try to run like, but I mean, they really don't look. People are just gonna boycott it, you know. Like I said, this woman, it's been absolutely. I think the only explanation I can give is that she by you know, like JD said, your jealousy, it's tragic, and it's something that really made me think a lot when I heard that audio, because you have somebody that somehow, I guess, has probably a sense of spite, you know, as some kind of spiteful feeling against her then husband because of his success, because of his fan base, because what he has managed to achieve. And you know that she's making him feel small. She does not recognize his talent or engage in what he has done, yet lives off of him, of his connections, of his wealth, of his houses, of his lifestyle, right? But never acknowledges, it seems like, who he really is, literally just using the guy. And I think when I heard that part of like, your jealousy is so tragic, you know, like when JD says that in that audio, really made me think of probably the hatred she also felt in her ego, that she wasn't better than him, and somehow she wanted to see him destroyed in order to prevail. So the only way she had to be better than him in something was to embrace this type of, you know, enterprise of becoming the face of a movement. Because once you become the face of a movement, you have this whole affiliation, you have these all other things behind you that it's supporting you, and then you can rise above in your own terms, so to speak, you know, in your own person, as your own person, into something that makes you feel that you are superior than others, you know. And I think she literally wanted to go through there because it was the place where she could achieve that objective, not through acting, because with all the support that she has had, with all the doors that which were opening by default, because you can tell me whatever you want, but the word of Hollywood is a word where if somebody brings you in, there is a lot of doors which will open by default compared to somebody like me or you that all of a sudden wants to try to have a, I don't know, maybe even like standing on the corner of a B movie, you know, as an actor, not even saying a line, you know, as a figurant. So you can tell me what you want, but a lot of doors open, and even then, you know, she wasn't very popular. She wasn't coming across very likable, you know. It's nobody's fault. Like, despite all of that possibility that people dream of, you know, Johnny Depp, one of the greatest actor, one of the biggest star of the last 40 years, that everybody knew in the business. Can you imagine how many possibilities? How do you think she made all those movies? You think she really just made it on her own self? That's nonsense. And it's not because I'm saying that isn't more capable compared isn't capable at all as an actress. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's obvious that if you know people, it's helpful if they have to choose you instead of perhaps a lesser known person, into a supporting role. That's what I'm saying. It helps. I'm sure that pretty much helps to get work. That's what I'm trying to say. And even then, do you recall anything that left an impression on you? I don't. Like I've said this before, and I say this without malice, without truthfully, honestly. I saw Aquaman. When I saw Aquaman, I saw the character, but when I watched this whole trial, I didn't even remember she was in all those scenes, honestly. Truthfully. It's also true I don't remember completely the movie because, of course, those movies sometimes they're entertaining, but then at the same time, they're not like wow masterpieces of storytelling and cinematography or whatever and so on and so forth. Maybe some cinematography, yes, the effects are great, but even then, I was like, wow, I don't even remember what she was doing in this movie, honestly. So. Guys, I want to tell you one thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I honestly, I think she even got paid more than some actors, which they basically started franchises, which nowadays there are franchises that have made the most money in modern cinema, like Robert Downey Jr. Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man 1, took a gamble because he's a friend of Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. came from a long period of not acting, even though he's a freaking Oscar nominated actor. I think he was nominated for an Oscar. I don't think he won, but I think he was nominated for an Oscar for Charlie Chaplin the movie. We're talking of Robert Downey Jr. here, right? And I think the first Iron Man, I think he got paid $300,000 or $350,000. Let that sink in. Robert Downey Jr. got paid that amount of money to play Tony Stark. That freaking character is iconic from the moment that guy opened his mouth. You know what I mean? Guys, just a second, I take a glass of water. There's quite a delay with the image here in the chat. Man, like Joanne Avella, you're right. She probably also used the baby. I feel sorry for the baby, man. I mean, this woman now, she has to come with I wonder how this is going to be solved with the bond to be paid, with the money that she owes JD basically. I don't know what it's going to happen, honestly. So guys, This is an interesting question. Actually, I read this before. Adam Waldman dropping some spicy tidbits on Instagram. Wonder what they have in mind. An appeal? How can the jury find Amber defamed on your statement, which you also filed perjury charges after, finding all yes to Johnny? If Johnny was defamed, wouldn't her lying prove you told the truth? Confused. Waldman replied, excellent question. You will see soon. You'll soon see. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I hope they don't appeal anything. I honestly hope they don't appeal anything. I think the best for them is just to move on. But I understand. Yeah, there's this thing of this self-harm thing, which is not good. Yeah, that's like, it's really scary out there mocking real victim of everything, you know? I honestly think this woman, she just has to take her time instead of trying to revert the narrative here. No, I'm not happy. Look at this. Look at this. This is the woman that wrote this headline. Moira Donegan, I suppose. I suppose this is what it says here. I don't know if it's you. But apparently this writer, writing for The Guardian, had this to say in this headline. The Amber AH Johnny Depp trial was an orgy of misogyny. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Those are the headlines in The Guardian. Wow. Wow. I'm actually curious to know, like, some of her beliefs. You know what I mean? Would be interesting to hear some of her beliefs. For some of those people, everything goes. Oh my God, that's frightening. Truly, truly insane. It should be just about justice. You're right. It should be about justice. This, we just saw this one here. That's insane. We saw this woman and this other woman here. All right, guys. Let me take some questions. Let me take some questions from you guys. Just 1 second. Let's take some question from you guys. Hey, thank you so much still for the happy birthday. Thank you for the wishes. I appreciate it. I have no idea what's wrong with these people, with these journalists. Of course, everybody's trying, sometimes to be also contrarian works. You try to go a little bit against the grain in your thinking, whatever. It's all part, anyway, of technique of getting clicks. Either you take clicks through, like, going with a little bit, like, with how people think, or you go against, and through outrage of some sort, you still get the clicks. So this is also techniques, of course. They know what they're doing. But in doing so, like I said before, they take away from, the victory of a real victim. There is too much noise today. I would agree on that. There was a time where there was less information, but I think the fact that information got curated a little bit better, there was a better chance to understand a little bit more what was happening. Nowadays, everybody, like, especially the news, instead of reporting, it looks like almost it's like reality TV, So it becomes very difficult. Would I want Elaine to defend me? Well, hopefully I don't have to defend myself against anybody. But no, I wouldn't want her to defend me at all. It's just lies. It's just lies. It's just lies. We have covered this in the beginning of this video. They're spreading lies. They don't have any information. They don't have any medical records. The medical records they're referring to are like psychiatrist or therapist records, which they're not medical doctors, examiners, which they don't exist. There is none of those things recording the injuries of the alleged abuse, especially of the sexual one. So they even went to the length of saying that they won in the UK, when in fact IH was not even a party in that trial, because JD was suing the Sun. But they, for association, to kind of influence the media and the people, she won there. What, like, from a lawyer, for a lawyer to say that on national TV, not even 24 hours later, when it can be fact-checked immediately, how does it make you look? Luckily, we've learned that apparently she has to pay the bond in order to file for the appeal. And so, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, Terence Tibbs, she has 3 movies coming out. Yes, but those movies, they have been already produced, you know what I mean? Like, if there are 3 movies coming out now, means that probably she worked on them like 2 years ago, I think the judge at Scarate, she's gonna be quite pissed to hear those allegations already floating around 24 hours after the trial. She seemed to be very just and fair towards the both of them. I don't even understand the law correctly, and like the objection and that they were presented, she was quite fair, to allow them or not allow them on each party, So for Elaine to go around already on national TV and say that basically what they're saying is that the trial was unfair, and that's what they're gonna appeal, because they didn't carry it out in a fair manner, it's bogus. And again, I know that it's normal procedure. Both both have the right to do so. Also, in the case JD would have lost, for instance, he had the right to appeal as well. So it's not that the point. Of course you can. But for us that we have watched this for 6 weeks, and we saw the lies, we understood where the victim really was a relief, finally, to have that verdict, It was a huge relief. And we've seen that JD is going around, enjoying his life, playing music, already putting it behind him, instead of going around already. Like, I find it freaking amazing, actually. Actually, this is something I want to see. Oh, wow. It did reach 4.5 million. Wow. It did reach 4.5 million. Now it's going to 6 million. But I don't understand, like, what number does it need to achieve in order to have, do they have any legality, those things? Like, I guess, okay, they have sort of they have an impact in terms of, like, seeing that so many are, like, honestly, I don't think there are also serious petitions which have been signed by this many people. Man, I'm telling you, I might tell you an unpopular, like, this woman literally dug a grave with her own hands. Seriously, this woman really, she's probably just truly, she really has conditions, she really has problems. Because anybody with a freaking, like, degree of 3 grams of brain, if you really wanted to separate from your husband, you could have just done this in a very, very easy, straightforward fashion of splitting up, keeping it private, not going forward with any accusation one against the other. You would have gotten probably, like, the money anyway, or even, the same money, or maybe even something more. You would have kept, your integrity. You would have kept your name. Nobody knows nothing about the life of those people because you keep it private. And both they could have move on with their lives, and certainly she would have moved on with her life, continuing to work. She literally destroyed her career with her own hands. And then it turns out it was also all lies. You know what I mean? Because it was brought to the public, and the public saw, and the jury saw, and they realized also, it's like, oh, Jesus, this is a bunch of freaking lies. So, I mean, it's insane. Like, it's literally insane what she did. So, literally, she has serious problems, Like, really has to look for help. Like separating each other in a normal manner, like, would have been so much better for the both of them, but mostly her. Mostly her. Yeah, we all know that we all know that she was trying to get all three houses And there in the Western, like 50,000 a month, 3 houses, and even the car. Basically, really setting yourself up for life. I hope she, like, you see those like memes going around. By the way, Star Bright, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't know exactly what is gonna happen. We'll probably will find out if she cannot pay JD. So I think that's another process as well. That's also another process of legality and other stuff, which probably needs to, people have to look into it. Like looking into properties, stuff that are on her name, that type of stuff, even jewelries, everything, basically all the possession which can be repossessed, basically. But this is, I honestly think this is going nowhere for them, I think they just have to lay quiet and disappear. They really brought this on themselves. People that have troubled themselves to come forward and tell the truth. Seriously, like people that have troubled themselves to be part of this trial because they were witness one place or another. The opposite didn't happen. The opposite did not happen. Only those 4 leeches that lived with her, that basically backstabbed Johnny, apparently, allegedly, were testifying. And now we also know that some of those people actually committed perjury, because one of those people was lying. Either it's her friend or it's the guy from Hicksville and also his co-worker that said there was no trashed trailer. So Johnny's having a good time in the UK, going around having a mega pint, probably somewhere in a pub here and there. How about that? He's probably in tours, like full on in tour with Jeff Beck, so they're gonna play all those shows together. I love this. This is the tweet from Morgan Tremaine, the guy from TMZ, that is retweeting this. I'm trying to think of what you call going on the Today Show after losing a high-profile case. Any ideas? I'm stumped. Oh my god. Can you imagine? Literally, like, not even 24 hours later. Oh. Guys, please hit the like if you want. We're gonna talk about this for a while. I will cover also new things as they come along. We can also discuss what we can do in terms of life. Now, we also have been so engaged with this trial for so long, also with the new audience, that I'm gonna miss you guys. So maybe we can find a way to continue to do stuff so that we can do this, maybe not on a daily basis, but maybe on a weekly basis, or maybe some podcast of some type. I will totally be in for that. I don't know what is gonna happen, man. Like, really, I really don't know what is gonna happen. I don't think, like, $8,350,000. It's a lot of money, man. I don't know who is gonna cough up this amount of money. You know what I mean? Even if you have a very high-profile sugar daddy, I mean, he's not gonna be willing to cough up this amount of money. Dear, thank you so much. I'm so disappointed too about the mainstream media. I really am. They're really, like, they're insinuating that actually she was still somehow a victim, of DV. Really speaks volume that you're trying to cover up a well-known narcissist now, Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Carly Lee. Well, really, I don't think she has that much followers that her followers are willing to chip in to, Fabled. I'll try. I'm on every day. I'll try to, I'll still do video every day. You just have to find things to do, things to talk about, Maybe I will continue maybe to cover media and other stuff as well. I find this interesting also because at heart I'm a singer, I'm an artist, I'm a sing-songwriter, I'm a writer, I'm a painter. That's what I am. That's what I love to do. I love to make music. I love to write songs. I love to sing. But I also do love giving voice to a perspective, going through the news, going through what is happening, and trying to filter the noise, trying to make sense of things, hopefully always in an unbiased way, trying to understand. And it can be very tricky, of course, with nowadays landscape of politics and media. But that's something that I enjoy to do. That's why all of a sudden I got caught up with this Johnny Depp thing, because it felt wrong when I discovered some of those videos going around and the audio. Felt wrong, and because I had the sympathy for the character, kind of drove me into explore more, and then it all unraveled. So yeah, definitely I can be on every day. The YouTube is my thing. I love YouTube. So Yeah, Mac, definitely I can do a live sometimes. I make music with my friend John. We did for a period a folk duo which is called Tin Man and Sparrow. Actually, the music, it's linked like if you see some of my videos, you see the link on Spotify. I was actually also my channel. If you click, there's the link on Spotify, or also my channel. Actually, there are covers and also my original songs. So if you're curious, you will see on the trailer of the channel there is a cover. You will find more, and then there is also Spotify. You can listen for free if you're curious. Well, you know, I think that the fear for the mainstream media is that by giving too much space to the male side of the argument, probably they're afraid that they send a signal that they're departing from being hyper liberal and you know, all that kind of trends that it's going on nowadays around the world, you know, believing women by default, believing in minorities by default, doesn't matter what. And even though I am for all of it, you know, I'm totally for all of it in terms of opportunity, justice, and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm totally for it, you know, totally for it. There is no question about it. But you have to see things one at a time, you know? You can't just make everything, you cannot pile up everything together. You have to see a case at a time. In this case, in this particular case, yes, it was a white man. Yes, he was a powerful man. We understand that. But also, yes, he was abused. Yes, he was cancelled immediately, without due process. Literally 2 days after those allegations came out, and the article and the pictures. His life immediately got wrecked. Immediately. That also has got to change, you know? I mean, if you find the next Weinstein, fine, that's great. We all want that. We are on the side, you know, we're supporting that, you know? But we cannot pile up everything together. Okay, he's a white, powerful man, therefore he's guilty. What is that? That's where we're going? Seems like a really bad place to be in society like this. You know, instead of actually shortening the distance in between communities, ethnicities, group, political factions or whatever, seems like that we are creating like freaking trenches, never-ending trenches, you know, separating each other. That's insane. Camera is off, guys. Wait a sec. Yeah, those are the mainstream. Look, those are the headlines. I've seen that this morning as well, but it's just freaking insane, man. I know that some of those magazines are also like not really, but there are some big magazines like the Independent, the CNN. I mean, influential at least, the Guardian, Teen Vogue. Wow. Look how twisted and infamous those headlines are. Look at that. The Teen Vogue says the Johnny Depp Amber verdict doesn't matter after the internet made a spectacle of abuse. What do you mean doesn't matter? The internet made a spectacle of domestic abuse claims, leaving a despicable landscape for survivor everywhere. I mean, are you serious? Oh my God, like this is so infuriating because there are so many victims which have come forward supporting Johnny, so many real victims, so many everywhere. Like I've said this before, even me, with my channel, I have been contacted by dozens of those people. I have pictures of people sending me pictures which I cannot show you. And they're awful pictures because people, they want to share their story. That's why they send me this picture and they go like, this is what I looked like when actually my real abuser was abusing me. And I have those pictures of these people which they look like nothing. The pictures that I've seen of AH presented as evidence, You see those people and you go like, oh, Jesus, man, I hope she's fine, It's absolutely nuts. So many people are coming forward in support of him. Also, like The Root. AH verdict sends a message to black women everywhere. What kind of message is sent? I'm confused, I'm curious if I have any Afro-American in the audience also. I'm also interested to hear your take. It's so pitiful how they try to put people against each other. You know what I mean? This is the part that makes me sad the most. Where is the umbrella guy? Really? We got the umbrella guy in here? Where? I don't see in the chat, really? Man, I love your videos. Hey, the umbrella guy, look at that. My man. Man, I love your videos, man. The umbrella guy is the man. I think him and Incredibly Average, they've started this whole movement, honestly. So nice to see you, man. I was also on your chat yesterday, and I follow you, man. Really great guy. Maybe we should do like we should do a live together also. I don't know how to connect, actually. I have to find out. I'm a little bit down. I'm actually not that technical. I'm not super technical, but I still have to figure out how I have to do, like, how I can add somebody to the stream while I use OBS. It's something that actually I've never done before, but I would love to be part of your stream, the umbrella guy, or if you want to be part of the stream here, I would love to. Yeah, so Sorry, guys, I'm trying to read through the chat because it's a little slower, so there's a little bit of delay. So I'm trying to find out. All right, Umbrella Guy, great. I'll add you on Twitter. Perhaps we'll do it tomorrow here. There is, as you know, I'm in Amsterdam. There is a little bit of time. You know, it's already like 11:30 here. So definitely tomorrow. Like, I don't know what time are you on the East Coast? So I know when you're up. Oh, that would be great. I look forward to it, man. I really look forward to it. I also have a lot of questions to ask you. Oh man, it was actually fantastic when we saw the trial, and I knew the Umbrella Guy, and it was so much fun, man. When Elaine, she just said, I think she was interviewing Tremaine, the guy from TMZ, and she had that sleep of the Umbrella Man. That was brilliant, man. That was fantastic. Actually, I think I came immediately on your chat and send a message. Yeah, I was listening, I think, also to you yesterday, and you were saying, like, also about stuff that they were coming after you. It's something that actually made me also think, honestly, because I've never been engaged. I've never been engaged so much into like something like this. So sometimes you also don't know exactly what has to be your behavior in order to stay safe in terms also becoming a target, you know, because of course that's not what you want to do. All right, Umbrella Guy. Central Time. All right, then it's like more or less 7 hours behind, right? So I always calculate because my sister lives in New York, so I'm always like, you know, after 2 here, it's the good time to go. All right, tomorrow early afternoon, I'm gonna add you on Twitter. We'll try to work this out. That would be really a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for reaching out. I really look forward to it. So guys, stay tuned. Either tomorrow or very soon, we're gonna get like a nice live stream together with the Umbrella Guy, which is literally the man. He's been doing this for a while. He's got a lot of insight. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna hear of this for a while, but we have to see, like I said, we've just learned that probably she cannot even file for the appeal, because otherwise she has to pay the bond basically of what she owes JD. So that's it. I think that this is it. I think it would be much better for them just to take a break, you know what I mean? Or just to disappear. Sometimes the best course of action is just to let time pass, you know? And then you'll see in the future. Because the good thing about people, us in general, is actually that we do have empathy. We do have sympathy, you know? This is the difference compared to a narcissist. We do have empathy, and in time, we might be even willing, you know, to forgive. Of course, everything has to be taken on a separate case, but you know what I mean. This is the good thing about humanity. People have sympathy, they have empathy. So the best course of action, just disappear for a while, all right? We have seen enough of you, AH. Oh my God. I'm actually so incredibly surprised that there is literally 4.5 million signed the petition. Like, this is how pissed off people are. Can you imagine? Like, if you make a calculation of like, if 4.5 million people sign this petition, most likely there are probably like 25 million which they're really pissed off, or 30 millions which they're also pissed off, but they didn't want to go to the trouble to sign the petition. You know what I mean? Like, out of those many people, there is like a 1% or 10% that felt like, you know, enraged enough that they even had to go sign the petition, the online petition for removing her from Aquaman. But most likely they're way more. And in fact, it's crazy, because if you think about it, that already like 4.5 million people, actually they can do some decent damage. Imagine like these people not going to the theater, right? Like, now it doesn't matter. I don't know if they're all Americans or or European American from every place around the world, but it's like already 4.5 million people not buying a $14 or $12. I don't know. Here it's like a ticket. It's like €12. You know, it's like if it's 3D, it's even like €14. So it's like you go to the theater. It's €14, €12. So imagine like 4.5 million of these people that maybe have also families, you know, and they bring like their kids to the cinema, and that's probably way more tickets. You know, can you imagine already the damage they do that? That's already, I guess it's somewhere like north of 60 million already, or something like that. And you know, let's say on a first weekend box office, that could make a dent, you know, in a movie like that. And in a way, actually, I feel sad for Jason Momoa, because we have seen that Jason Momoa actually liked the statement of JD yesterday. That tells you a lot, man. That tells you really a lot. That really tells you a lot on how this guy is feeling. This is a high-profile actor. This is one of the most... This guy, it's pretty liked in this moment. You know, I think he's having a good moment in his career. He's a very likable character, and he's doing a bunch of movies. You know, it's a little bit like, I would say, The Rock a little bit. You know, like those very likable guys that either you know the movie or you don't, but somehow you know that they're likable. So this guy is like that, and he literally worked with that woman, and he's liking, you know, his post. It tells you everything you need to know. Saga Ragazza, I really have no idea what they were saying with that article about, you know, like it's a message to black women. I really don't know what they meant, honestly. I really have no idea what they meant with that. You know, let's do some Johnny Depp appreciation again. Look how happy those lassie are to be with him. That makes me so happy. Look at this. Literally made their day. Look at how happy they are. Like, you see this guy in the back here? This is actually, I think it's, what is his name? Connolly? This actually, I think, is his UK bodyguard. He looks like, look at like the bodyguard there in the back. It's like just between the two heads here. The bodyguard in the back is like, I just like, it's like he has had enough already. Or maybe it's just a picture that looked that way. So yeah, to wrap this up, let's wrap this up, and tomorrow we'll try to make it work. I'm really excited, actually. I'm so happy that Umbrella Guy passed by. I watch his video all the time, especially lately. Great insight, and also it's been really the basically OG, together with Incredibly Average. They literally spearheaded the movement of bringing the truth out, you know. I think was their video in conjunction. I don't remember. I think was first I watched a video of Incredibly Average. Actually, the first time I think it happened in 2020 or something like that, when there was the UK trial. So already then I think I heard a little bit of an audio. I do not recall which one it was. It was a conversation. And I remember listening a little bit, but like I told you many times, I'm not really the gossip type of person in general. So I didn't look too much into it. Also, because I like JD, I think I also didn't want to know too much about stuff, you know. So I just, you know. But then this thing came back, and when this thing started to happen again, that there was voice that this trial was happening again in Virginia, I think some of those things came back in the suggested or whatever, and ended up in one again of those videos, and then boom, it just opened up everything. And then I found, from there I found Umbrella Guy also, and then it really opened up my eyes, you know. And it's literally the only place where you could have find this type of information. You know what I mean? This is how narrow it becomes in the media. If none of this outlet it's venturing in that direction of trying to seek the truth, instead of just running for whatever propaganda they have in mind at the time, you just don't find the truth. And literally, thanks to these guys, I think they really spearheaded a lot of movement of involving also a lot of other guys like me included, you know, that start covering this and get engaged. Otherwise, literally, there was like a couple of guys. You know what I mean? Like how little the truth. Yeah, you really have to seek for it. You know, you really have to pay attention and seek for it. Otherwise, it just sleeps under your nose. Boom. And you just believe whatever they want you to believe, you know? And this is a clear example of that. You see these, and then you realize that's it. That's exactly it. If we had never had the chance to see the trial, that would have been the end of it. Then people, like, you know, the people that chime in, it's like, okay, they both won. Okay, they both won. You know, that's it. That's the end for them, you know. And then you realize also how much this happens with so many other things as well. You know, like you can draw this parallelism with all kinds of other things as well, unfortunately. Yeah, it's really garbage, man. It's I understand, like I said, I understand that they have to sell stuff, but there is also a limit to that, you know. There's a limit to that. There is a code. If you become a journalist, that has to be higher than you. You know what you do in terms of, you know, seeking the truth. Yeah, I think the era of reporters, I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure, like, there still are, like, if you look at also, like, some European, like, if you see in the Netherlands, for instance, there are some newspaper which, let's say, they still have that kind of more truthful mentality, you know, more balanced in the middle, more careful. Like, they have also decent reporters, good reporters. And don't forget, for instance, like, to make an example, like what I like about, for instance, like people here, this is a small country, but what I like about the people here, that even a TV show, like a TV host or whatever, they're actually straightforward. They're not afraid of asking questions. You know, it's not so much like you saw on morning TV, like Elaine being on American TV. Don't forget that H was that clip that you heard in the trial where she's talking about giving the money to charity. Actually, that took place here. There was a fairly known, I think it's actually a very well known TV program. It's a journalistic TV program. I don't remember to what extent it's, it's a sort of a more gossip or whatever, but seems like to be like quite a big TV program. And it was the host that asked, hey, what did you do with the money? Did you give the money? Like they're not afraid of asking straight questions, And then she lied. So I actually find also amazing that took place, like here, and then they ran it in the trial, and she was caught lying. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely the media wants a story. Like we agree. Like I understand. The basic of that. But again, there has to be a code. There was a code. There is a sort of a host. It's a little bit like also becoming a little bit like a doctor. There is a host you take a little bit. I don't know if that's exactly the way, but I think if you become a journalist, a reporter, that there is something that it's bigger than you. Otherwise, you're just literally gossiping. And you can do that maybe if you're a YouTuber. We can speculate here. We can allege, fine. But if you're writing for like a national journal, printed magazine, I think you should fact check some stuff or something, Yeah, the opposite, the problem with social media, you know what it is? This is the other side of it, which is, and we have learned this through, in the last 5 years, 10 years, I think we are starting to discover that, because the other side of the coin is that people, when they start to use social media, when they are on, like, I don't know, Facebook or on YouTube or like, TikTok or Instagram, the algorithm will slowly craft basically a bubble of what you're looking for. So they're going to present you with the things that you believe in. If you start to hang around all the time pages of flat earther, then all of a sudden you're going to go start hanging around in all those places, which sort of fuels your own narrative and creates a bubble of your own ideals because you see it reflected in other people's blogs or video which are suggested to you. And this is the other side, this is the negative side of it, that if you want to get out of it, then it might become very difficult if we are caught up in your own bubble. And this is the problem with algorithms, which can be good if you're like a camera nerd and you like, like you like to see a lot of camera videos like me, like, oh, this is recorded in 422, this is recorded in RAW, and our reflex are better than this, like, fine. But if you start to do it on other topics, it might become very detrimental for the truth or for growth, because you might really start to believe all kinds of BS, which they're not even true. And this is all like that whole thing with, I don't know if you remember this Cambridge, this old documentary about this Cambridge something, like, like how they use data, how they can create ads which they target certain people on Facebook and all, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is also something that people have to be aware of. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's why big tech needs to be regulated. Yeah, it's always a slippery slope. It's like how you keep a balance in between, you know, freedom and control. You know, it's quite difficult. That's why, like, things should be also a little bit more transparent. I think this is also the biggest problem with thank you, Tammy, for the belated happy birthday. Thank you so much. I think this is also the problem with big tech companies. They're not really transparent. You don't know, like, we are learning now how those, you know, companies, they pile up and save data about everything, about where you go, what you do, where you message, where you buy, and all of those things. And so we're just beginning to know. Yeah, guys, you're right. Every now and then we do some, like, JD appreciation. So let's find for some new JD appreciation. Let's go for a second. Exactly. Let's finish on a positive note. We like JD appreciation. I already showed you this JD with this pregnant lady here, Laura and Whittington. Look at how those women all running to JD. Who knows why? Because he's a good guy. That's why. We have to do some JD appreciation. We can do also some Camille appreciation, you see? Role models. Exactly. Look at that. Instead of these role models, Camille. Let's do some Camille appreciation. By the way, I have nothing against those other 3 women up there. They do whatever they do, you know. I'm totally fine with it. They managed to create an empire on social media. I'm totally fine. That's the freedom of living in a country like the US. That's good. That's fine. I'm not opposed to it. I'm totally fine with it. This, we just saw this one. We're gonna talk tomorrow about this as well. We need some JD appreciation. Come on. We need some more JD appreciation. Where is... It's like literally... Also, there is like all this focus on... like all these like freaking headlines or whatever. We want some new picture of JD going around, having fun, walking around. Like this. That's what we want. JD walking... What is it, Newcastle? Look at that. JD enjoying a nice walk. Always with a little book. We do some JD appreciation here. Guys, maybe we should leave it at this. JD appreciation. We're still celebrating. We're a little bit pissed off, but also celebrating. And also, don't worry. I don't think that this whole appeal is going to go through. At least, if the guy from Law and Crime there is right, what we just saw before, that's probably the case. So, you know what I mean? I'm gonna wrap it up. It's almost 12 o'clock here. I also need to sleep a little bit. Guys, I want to thank you. For... We're almost 3,000 of us in the chat, even with the trial over. Super happy again, really. Super happy. So, I think it's a good moment to, to stop the live, and hopefully we'll see tomorrow if I can be a guest also on the Umbrella Guy. That would be lovely. I really look forward to it. And Guys, I wish you a good night. I wish you a good morning, especially some of the audience that it's in New Zealand or in Australia or like a little bit more in the east. If you are in my time zone, well, that's probably a good time for you also to go to sleep. And in the US and in the east, in the west, sorry, they still have some time to go. I did have a mini pint today because I still had some cake left from yesterday from my birthday. So I had a little bit of cake still, and I had a little bit of a mini pint. I thought, but I'm gonna celebrate also tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna celebrate still for another couple of days or so. Also the JD win, huh? This is a week of celebration. This is definitely a week of celebration. Guys, thank you so much. All right, let's wrap this up. It's a good time to go. I want to thank you again for all the support and showing up in the chat. Thank you so much. Really, 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 you make my day. And stay tuned, all right? I'll see you tomorrow. Don't worry. Okay? Ciao, ciao, guys.